Investigation is underway by police there. What appears to be gunfire damage overnight at a Democratic Party coordinated campaign office for Vice President Kamala Harris. The incident occurred just a few days before Harris is scheduled to visit Arizona as she campaigns for the presidency. So there are more details unraveling, more emerging. The apparent gunfire marks the second incident of criminal damage at that office in just recent weeks, according to Tempe police, who said that just after midnight, September 16th, the office front windows were hit with what appeared to be a BB gun or pellet gun. You see the damage there.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Tempe police said that officers responded Monday after calls from workers and that they observed what appeared to be gunshots through the front windows of the office, which is shared by staff members for the Arizona Democratic Party. Harris campaign and Senate and House campaigns to boost turnout for the party in November. No one was inside the office during the overnight hours, but this raises concerns about the safety of those who work in that building as well as those nearby. Public Information Officer Sergeant Ryan Cook said in a statement on Tuesday, NBC News with the reporting. Arizona Democratic Party, all over this one, concern. The chairwoman, Yolanda Bejarano, said in a statement that it was, quote, extremely sad that the Arizona Democratic Party has become the target of violence. It's not who we are as Arizonans or Americans. We are working with law enforcement to ensure that this threat is taken seriously, that our staff members are safe while they're at work, she added. But the damage has sparked concerns over the safety of campaign workers, and some observers say Elon Musk, the billionaire, is to blame for this. While local authorities investigate, many online have pointed fingers at the CEO of X after a controversial social media post just a week earlier, coincidentally on September 16th. Referring to President Joe Biden or the vice president, Musk had posted, "No one is even trying to assassinate Biden, Kamala," leading some to suspect his inflammatory rhetoric may have influenced the attacks. Though the tech mogul deleted the post on X shortly after, the Associated Press reported Musk claiming it was meant as a joke, and that's the kind of thing you joke about, right? People are still furious about its impact. Lana Blackstar filling us in. Secret Service said it is aware of a social media post by Elon Musk discussing assassination attempts on President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, which he later deleted and wrote off as a joke. As a matter of practice, we do not comment on matters involving protective intelligence, Secret Service said in a statement. We can say, however, Secret Service investigates all threats. All threats. So what do you make of that? Agency has also collected records related to the post for law enforcement purposes that it considers exempt from open records laws due to enforcement proceedings. Bloomberg reported that. USA Today also on the story. Look, has he been arrested or not? I believe if it weren't for his billionaire status and who he's connected to, he would have been picked up. It seems as though the Secret Service perhaps DM'd him to inquire about this, talking about billionaire Elon Musk, who is presiding over Twitter, which is still not where it was. I mean, he really destroyed the platform. And he's still at it. But this is about Kamala Harris. And she has a lot of people with a lot of disinformation coming for her. And I want to know do you think it's okay to make the connection between the billionaire's joke on X and this incident now twice being shot up at these campaign and Democratic Party headquarters in Tempe?
I don't think it's that much of a stretch to make that combination, but what I would say is even scarier is that, you know, when you look at the backgrounds of the two guys, the one who actually took a shot and freaking hit Trump, you know, like whatever it was, a graze, a ricochet, whatever you want to call it, the guy was bleeding. And another guy who didn't get to take his shot. When they looked into his background, it wasn't some Elon Musk figure encouraging these guys. These guys were loons on their own. Like, these guys were obviously victims of their own mental health struggles, and they decided they wanted to take a shot at the former president. To me, that's even scarier than the idea that a clown like Elon would get on Twitter and spout stupidity. I think we're blessed in terms of the fact that Kamala, because she is the sitting vice president, she's pretty well protected. And so, this attack is as harebrained as it might have seemed. It wasn't office hours. It was a pellet gun. More credible attacks could be thwarted because, Secret Service, she's pretty securityed up because of her status as vice president. Donald Trump, as a former president, has less security than her. And I think they've probably had to step this thing up. And I think to like bring it back to Elon Musk's stupid rhetoric, I think the problem for the right with these Trump shooting incidents is that they are the gun nut party. And so they cannot come out and just say it's messed up that these guys are running around with guns anyway. It's messed up that these kind of people can easily get their hands on guns. And even Donald Trump, who's surrounded by quote unquote good guys with guns, a dude could get a nice clean freaking shot off at him with no problem. But they cannot come out and say that they're against this stuff because they are the most deranged political party in terms of gun rights on the face of the planet, right? So that's why you see they have to come at it with this other stuff. And also Donald Trump, let's keep it real, because I say this because there's been a lot of rhetoric about, well, like this, the Trump shooting left the news. Well, Trump's barely talking about it. And part of it is because he can't diss the Secret Service who screwed up because they're still guarding him. So you can't go out and completely, dump on these guys. And so I think that's the problem. Elon has to say stupid. It's like, damn, why isn't anybody taking shots at Kamala instead of saying, why are people taking shots at people? Why is it so easy to get a gun and try to kill, a candidate running for president in the United States?
Yeah, and here's the thing, the Senate released that report on the Trump rally where he ended up with that, whatever went down with his ear. The ear it looks pristine. But nonetheless, they chronicled a lot that was done wrong. For example, leadership, but no real leaders, okay? Relying on cell phones, 27-minute gap between being told there's someone suspicious over there on the roof. Nobody acted. Shots had to be fired. And the former president, threatened, his life threatened. And then there was members of the detail who allowed, and I do mean allowed, him to demand his shoe, pause in the middle of danger and do this fight thing, right? And then again, as they tried to get him into the car, I mean, either you're trying to protect him or not. I mean, some people are old enough to remember or have seen the footage of Ronald Reagan. Remember when he was shot? They shoved him in the car. They probably injured him getting him into the car. That's how quickly they moved. So I don't know if we can be so confident in the detail that Kamala Harris has enjoyed, of course, for upwards, leaning on 4 years and now as a candidate. I don't know. Does anyone know who placed the device outside the VP's Washington residence yet? I don't know if we've ever caught that person. That was kind of strange that they were able to get that close to the residence, okay, right before January 6th. So it just seems that there's a lot of gaps here. And I think if you, which you would never do, Rose, were to post that kind of joke, okay, on your X account, you might not be with us today to do the program. You might not be the guest co-host on Indisputable because you may be in Secret Service custody as they investigate, question you. I don't think they're going to waterboard you, but I don't know what happens. I've never been in their custody and hope to never be. I don't know. I want this rhetoric, if they're going to deal with it, like I think they would have dealt with it if you did it, to be investigated and perhaps prosecuted. Am I going too far?
No, I mean, I hear you say you don't know, but what we do know for a fact is that the federal government, whether it be the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Secret Service, have surveilled, harangued, harassed, arrested people for way less. We know that
Yep.
for a fact.
Yeah. And I think that sums it up, right? Because if they want to, they could have picked him up. And is he in that tiny house? He said he gave up the big house and he was living in a very tiny house to make a point, whatever point he was making. I don't know if that's where he is. But my point is, it's Secret Service. So, they can find him if they want to. And I want them to. Okay.